Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will be talking about inline functions, functions with default arguments, and function with constant arguments. Let's get started. First we'll go with inline functions. So what are inline functions? And their function calling and returning mechanism. So as you can see here is a main function. Inside this we have a function f1. Inside this function we have another function. Inside the third function we have another function. And the function calling and returning mechanism is in this manner. So first function will go inside, then another function will go inside, then it will go inside, then it returns the value to f2, then it will go to f1 and so on. And finally it comes back. So this is the whole process. So what is the inline function? Before talking about inline function, we need to know what is overhead time. When the program executes the function called instruction, the CPU stores the memory address of the instruction following the function call and copies the arguments of the function on the stack. When the program executes the function called instruction, uh, the CPU stores the memory address of the instruction following the function call, copies the arguments of the function on the stack, and finally transfers control to the specified function. The CPU then executes the function code, stores the function return value in the predefined memory location, and returns control to the calling function by retrieving the return address to it. This becomes an overhead cost for small functions whose execution time will be less than this entire switching time. For functions that are large and or of perform complex tasks, the overhead of the function call is usually insignificant. So what it states that is that overhead time is the time which is required for a program to execute a function. So uh, it is the function return value in a defined memory location or address. So this time is actually uh, greater than the execution time for small functions. So there is a problem for small functions. So what we do in this case is that we use inline functions. So what are inline functions? To save the function call overhead time, the short functions may put their function body directly in the place of function call during compilation. That is, when we call the function, uh, when the compiler sees the function call, it automatically puts the function body inside the code so that we don't have the overhead time and only we have execution time, and this is the main idea of inline functions. During declaring small functions as inline functions may increase the efficiency too. The syntax for defining the function inline is inline return type function name parameters function code. Prefix the keyword inline to the function definition. So we should write inline in front of the return type. Suppose we have a function called sum and its return type is int and it returns a plus b. So inline should be written before int. Then only it will be considered as an inline function. So here we have an example. We have an inline double cube double a. So this is the parameter, this is the return type, and this is the function name. And here we have the inline keyword. So it returns A into A into A. Now we have T is equal to Q 5.78, this is equal to Q point 3.789. So in both the cases, we can use this inline function and the code executes efficiently. There are some rules regarding inline functions. The inline keyword is only a request to the compiler, not a command. Compiler can ignore the request if the function definition is too long. So inline functions is only for functions whose function body is small. Then compile the function as a normal function. So some of the situations where inline function may not work are if a function contains a loop, if a function contains static variables, if a function is recursive, if a function return type is other than void, the return statement doesn't exist in function body, if a function contains switch or go to statements. So in these cases, this inline functions won't work. So and also it is not a command, it is just a request to the compiler to consider this. If it is the function body is large, the compiler won't consider this request and it will act as a normal function. So okay, now in C we have the same kind of thing called macros. So here we have a function. No, we have here we have hash define square v into v. So what it is, macros are similar to inline function, but in this case, macros are pre-processor statements. So it does the code substitution. So here we have square, and inside that we have a parameter v, and this is the return value, which is v into v. Then we have a function which is inline float square float j. So both the macro and the inline function do the same job. So here we have the main function, and here we have p is equal to 3, q is equal to 3, r and s. So r is equal to square plus p. So this function runs, and s is equal to square plus q. So this function runs. So let us see what will be the answer for this. So try this, uh, work it out, and if you get the answer, comment in the comment section. So I'll see, and the people who gets the correct answer will be getting a gift from me. Now let us talk about member functions. So by default, all the class member functions defined inside the class are inline functions, even without the use of the inline keyword specifier. Those defined outside can be made inline by adding the keyword along with them. So basically, it's saying that the functions which are defined inside a class are already inline functions. Okay. Now, let us talk about functions with default arguments. Normally, the function we have void display char name in account number in float return. So if we call the function, we can call it as display abcd 5000. C++ allow us to call a function with less arguments than defined or no arguments at all. So what do you think about this? With less arguments. Here we have char name, int account, int amount, float rate. What if we don't put the float rate? What if we don't put the amount? What if we don't put anything? In these cases, we give default arguments. So this is possible in C++, not in, but not in C. In such cases, the function assigns a default value to the parameter which does not have a matching argument in the function code. Default argument is a value. So a default argument is a value provided in function declaration that is automatically assigned by the compiler if the caller of the function doesn't provide value for the argument. Default values are assigned along with equal to sign in the parameter list. So here we have an example for a function with default argument. So as you can see here in this function call, here we have an integer I, then we have integer 5, then k. Is already the value is already declared in the function call itself. The arguments are called calling function to called function are copied from left to right. So left to right, we are defining the uh, values. Functions with default values are listed first and followed by variables with default values. So here, as you can see here, integer I, this value we need to give in parameter, but if we don't give the value of the second and third parameter, then also this function will work. But in this case, here we have a default value first and an integer j. So this is an invalid function call. Then here also this is also a invalid function call. So basically it is saying that when we write a function call for a function with default argument, we should call it in this manner. That is, first we need to declare we should declare the values which doesn't have a default value, then only we should give, like it is from left to right. Okay. Now here we have a program. I want you to so this function call has a, here we have a function which accepts four values and returns the sum of the four values, four integers. So the function call, sorry, in the function prototype we have, for the function declaration we have an integer I which doesn't have default value. Then we have integer j, k and l which has default values. So what will be the value of res when the function call is sum a, b, c, d? So a is given 2, so the value of I will become 2. B is also given, so and c and d is also given, so it won't take in the values of the default arguments, but it will take these values. But consider the case sum a, b, c. We don't have the fourth value, which is l. So what this does is that it will take in the value of 2, 3 and 4, but will not and takes the value l is equal to 20. Okay. Now consider the case sum a comma b. We don't have the rest two cases, rest two arguments, parameters. So what this will do is that a will be, it will take I is equal to 2, j is equal to 3, then k is equal to 15 and l is equal to 20. Now sum b, c, d. In this case it will take in I is equal to 3, j is equal to 4, k is equal to 5 and l is equal to 20. So I suppose you understood the functioning of this default functions. Now let us see what are the advantages of default functions. It is useful while making a function call. If you do not want to pass parameter value that are always the same, we can use default arguments to add new parameters to the existing function. We can use default arguments to add new parameters to the existing function. So that is all for today's video. I hope you understood what I taught you today. In the next video we will be talking about functional overloading. So stay tuned and keep learning. Thank you.